Chairman David Hudson,
Present.
Carlene Dark Bays,
Present.
Clint Childs,
Present.
Philip Humber,
Present.
Christina Davis,
Present.
Michael Carmichael,
Present.
John Landez.
Here. We have a quorum for this meeting. The Planning and Zoning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council. Any item approved today will be heard by the City Council at its regular meeting on Wednesday, April the 24th, 2024, commencing at 9 a.m. If you received a notice for this meeting, you also have received a notice for the council meeting. If any item is denied, the applicant has 10 calendar days to file a written appeal with the Planning Department. The appeal will then be acted upon by the City Council. If you're here to speak for or against an item, please state your name and address for the record. Comments should be limited to 5 minutes or less, although extensions of time may be granted by the chair upon request. At the conclusion of this meeting, the commission will have a workshop to plan for our next meeting, and like all of our meetings are open to the public, and that will be held across the street at the Tyler Development Center, 423 West Ferguson, in the large conference room. Our next order of business is minutes from our last meeting. Commissioners had an opportunity to review those. Any changes, additions? If not, is there a motion on the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Our first item on our zoning agenda is a tabled item from our last meeting, PD 23-029. Is there a motion to remove this item from the table?
Mr. Chairman, I move we remove the item from table.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to remove this item from the table. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Ronnie.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and good afternoon to everyone present here today. This is an item that was tabled in the February meeting, and this is a PMF site plan amendment for a 172-unit multifamily. At that time, the applicant had requested for 60 days to do a traffic impact analysis and also do some updating on the site plan. They did submit for some additional information with an updated site plan and the traffic analysis a week ago, but the staff had not had time to review it completely, and the applicant is aware of that. So the staff recommends tabling this item for another 30 days for additional review, and so that we can respond to the applicant.
All right, Ronnie. Any questions for Ronnie? The staff recommendation is to table this item for 30 days, but because it was posted, are there persons here who would like to speak at this time for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to table for 30 days, Thorani?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to postpone item PD 23-029 for 30 days.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to table this item for 30 days. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Items postponed for 30 days. The first other zoning item is Z24001, Jenico West Mud Creek. Right? I'm sorry. At this time, Carlene's going to recuse herself on this item and leave the room, please. Miss Carlene Dark Bays has left the room with Ronnie.
This is a zone change request from AG, which is Agricultural District, to PMXD1, which is our mixed use, PCD, which is our planned commercial district, PMF, planned multifamily, and PUR, which is planned unit residential, and it's mostly single-family attached or detached, single-family homes, and C1 general commercial, RPO, which is our office district, and RMF, which is our multifamily district, and R2 is two-family district, and R1A is a single-family district. This property is 341 acres. That's located north and west of the northwest intersection of Cumberland Road and Pollocksy Avenue. This is a property that's owned by Geneco Westmud Creek and their subsidies. Looking at the surrounding zoning, let's go back. The surrounding zoning properties to the north is zoned AG, which is agricultural district. That's single-family homes, is developed with some single-family homes. The properties to the west, you can see some mixture of uses. Since it spans 340 acres, it's AG, which is agricultural district, and R1A, single-family districts, and R2, two-family, and is developed with single-family homes and two-family homes and also some undeveloped land. The properties to the east, that's along Pollocksy, you can see is AG, agriculture district, and C1, our commercial district, and also some of the properties are outside the city limits. And it's developed with commercial properties and single-family homes and undeveloped land. The properties to the south is R1A, you can see it's along Cumberland, and AG, and that's developed with single-family homes and some undeveloped land. The future land use guide identifies this entire area for single-family, medium, low density. That will be mostly single-family attached and detached homes. But this, since it's a mixture of uses that's being proposed, let me go back to there. Mixture of zoning that has been proposed, so this would change, amend the future land use guide to single-family attached and detached for attached and detached single-family homes, and multifamily for multifamily, and commercial for commercial, and mixed-use districts for all the PMXD 1 zoning districts that has been proposed.
Thanks. Is that it, Thorani?
No.
Thank you.
Yes. If you look at the proposed zoning, you can see that north is towards Jeff Davis. That's on the very top. Let me see if I can use this. That's on the very top, and then here's the Cumberland, and then the Pollocksy on the side. The subject property proposes a mixture of uses, with New Copeland Road serving as the connecting route between Jeff Davis and Pollocksy Drive through the property. You can see it's traversing from north towards the Pollocksy to the east. The area to the north of the creek is primarily zoned for single-family detached and attached, and also some multifamily and commercial uses. So all of these to the north is primarily for single-family homes and multifamily. And this property, this one along Pollocksy, is for PCD, that's for commercial. And to the south of the creek is mostly mixed-use development and commercial. Also, you can see that there's a collector that's being proposed from McClenny Drive that traverses across from west to the east, and also Cambridge Bend is also proposed to connect to the New Copeland Road that is right here. We did talk to the applicant, and we've been going back and forth with them along what the impact would be, because this is such a huge development. And we did talk to our traffic engineer with some new information, all the densities that has been proposed. Let's go back and look at the densities that have been proposed. This is the mixed-use district. That's the PMXD1. This is the setback that has been proposed and the lot coverage, and the uses are mostly is going to be C1 for commercial and RPO. Those uses will be allowed in this PMXD, so it'll be mostly commercial and offices along that track to the track 9 that you see to the south of the creek. And the PMF, this is mostly the north of the creek, and all uses allowed by PMF, and also they are proposing senior assisted living facility could be a part of it. And setbacks and the maximum height would be 3 stories, and the density 24 units per acre. And the parking, landscaping, and signage would be as per UDC. That's to the north of the creek. And this is also north of the creek. That's to the track 7. That's to the west portion of it. And they're also proposing for attached and detached single-family homes. This would kind of mimic the south bend that's to the west of this property, and also maybe a senior assisted living facility. These are all the uses that are allowed, but they're not. But it's not set in stone of what exactly is going to go in there. The density would be 9 units per acre, and the maximum lot coverage is 60%. And the PUR, that's along the Jeff Davis, closer to Jeff Davis, and that would be mostly R1B standards. It'll be single-family detached, I'm assuming. And Tract 5 is PCD, that's mostly commercial, that's with the commercial setbacks, and also 20-foot natural buffer along the north property line. And the PMF will also have all the multifamily uses. And this is to the north of the creek, and they're restricting the access to just the new Copeland so it doesn't go west towards the Cambridge Bend. So these are the zonings that has been proposed, and the traffic engineer has looked at it with all the information that has been provided to us. And we recommend that a traffic impact analysis will be required before the preliminary plat for the entire area, so we can access the infrastructure that would be required and the connecting routes that, if it's adequate or not. Currently, there are some connecting with the McClinney Drive and also the Cambridge Bend and the new Copeland, but we want to make sure that there's adequate infrastructure present for the entire development. So we are working with the developer, and they did say that they would be agreeing with the TIA requirement, but we don't have anything in writing stating that. So at this time, until we receive something from the developer, we are recommending tabling for 30 days. But before I also go back to the notices, we did have some notices. Out of the 85 notices that was sent out, 1 was received in favor, and we had 3 that when we did this map last week, we had 3 of them, and the protest calculation was up to 0.31, but before the meeting, we did get an additional 3 more, and the protest calculation came up to 0.78%. The opposition were mainly concerned about the traffic, noise, and the loss of vegetation, and then erosion because of the stormwater runoff, and also other environmental concerns. So that was 0.78%. And staff recommends tabling this item for 30 days until we receive additional information from the developer regarding the TIA.
Thank you, Thrani. This is a large project. Any questions for Thrani about the project? All right, although the staff recommendation is to table for 30 days, since it was posted, if there are persons here who would like to speak on this item. Yes, sir. Come to the microphone.
Hello, Thrani, do you have the PowerPoint? My name's Trey Brewer. I'm the Vice President of Real Estate at the Genico Group, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about our vision for we're calling it temporarily the Manziel Farm, and what that represents for the Genico Group and for the City of Tyler. So first, we believe that this is going to be over a 20-year project for our company. With 350 acres, it's a big deal for our company and for the City of Tyler. We're proud to be in the City of Tyler, and we've been in business for just under 100 years. And we want to see this project succeed and to go forward and to help the City of Tyler grow. With the medical school coming and with Yellowwood putting a plan up on I-20. There's just so much positive things going on for the City of Tyler that we want to be a part of it, and we're thrilled and honored to be able to play in this part in the growth of Tyler. And so the picture up on the screen is the outline of the property, and we've kind of flipped it on its side just to kind of get it all on one page and get it as big as possible so you guys can see it. But the first thing that we had to do before developing the property is we had to look at the City of Tyler's requirements for the property. And that included looking at the master street plan and looking at the future land use guide. And so the master street plan on this property, the city has drawn New Copeland coming down, and that's the line in red there, coming down through the property and bending up into Paluxy Drive up at the top of the screen. And there's a couple other connectors. McClenny Drive is supposed to connect all the way over to Paluxy Drive. And then the city wants Cambridge Bend to have a second access point up through our property. And so no matter what we do with the property, we've got to comply with the master street plan here unless there's a good reason to vary for a variance. And so this just want you guys to know that's not our wishes. This is a city and a group of the city coming through and putting the master street plan here. So the second thing that we had to do was look at the future land use guide. And the future land use guide actually had multifamily right next to Cambridge Bend, backing up right behind the houses in Cambridge Bend. And so that was our starting point, giving it to the engineers and trying to come up with a zoning plan. And so just want you guys to know that's the kind of the framework of what we're basing our zoning plan off of. And so before we go further, I just want to kind of tell you where we've been with the neighbors and with the city on this. We started reaching out to the neighbors. Jared Weaver and Natalie Drew in our office knocked on almost every door in that 200-foot radius to give the neighbors a chance to talk in their living rooms about our plans for the property. And when we didn't catch them in their living room, then we put a little note on their door and invited them to 3 neighborhood meetings we had in the fall over the substation, Faulkner Park Police Substation. And so Natalie and Jared took a lot of time to explain all the nuances of the zoning, and we had city councilmen there. I think Thorani and Kyle were there several times. And so we took some of those comments that we received, and we've made a couple changes before finalizing the plan that you've got before you. So just from a big picture standpoint, I guess before we get into that, from a big picture standpoint, our vision is just to extend the current housing types from the bottom of the page up through our property. And what I mean by that is down close to Cumberland Road, there's some larger lots. And so our vision is to kind of have larger lots kind of creep up the page up to New Copeland Road. And then there where Cambridge Bend backs up to the Manziel Farm is to just simply extend the Cambridge Bend subdivision up towards New Copeland Road and get that multifamily away from Cambridge Bend as it exists today. And then further north of that, there's on McClenny Drive, there's duplexes on Garrett Drive, and there's townhomes being developed on McClenny and Garrett Drive. And so the vision is just to simply extend what's there north to New Copeland Road. We had the first change that we made, and we made it pretty quick, is you can see the road going from the bottom of the page to the top of the page, and that's the Cambridge Bend access point that the city wanted us to make. We had it originally going all the way up to Paluxy, and we heard from several folks that that would quickly become a cut-through street to Cambridge Bend. And so we thought, well, we could relocate the access point up to the north, snake it around, and make it a little bit harder to get through Cambridge Bend, and certainly not have a through street all the way to Paluxy. So those are 2 of the changes that we made pretty quickly. And then Thursday, after Thorani and I spoke, we changed track 4 from a RMF zoning classification to a PMF so that we could restrict no roads coming from that tract of land onto the R1A tract of land. So all of the road, all the access for that zoning classification is going to go on to New Copeland Road extended. And so the last thing that we did is just to kind of make good on our promise of extending the existing zoning types to the north. And so we reduced the density from this tract down from 14 to 9 to match what John Nix is building on McClenny Drive. So that's kind of the highlights. But I guess another kind of vision for this over the next 20, 30 years is, this is going to be a neighborhood where families raise their kids and where families can drive their, move away, come back, and they'll show their kids where they grew up and the creek where they played with their friends and riding their bikes down the street. And so we're simply trying to be a part of Tyler growing, and we feel like this is a good opportunity for us to help that growth in Tyler. And so that's kind of the gist of the zoning, and it's a big project. So if you guys have any questions, I'd be glad to help answer those. The other thing is, I guess, as we were walking in, Thorhani said, we haven't gotten, we met with the city this morning, and they had a couple requests about doing a traffic study before we platted the property. And there was I guess a missing communication, and we've included that in an email to Thorhani and to Kyle so that we're agreeable to doing the traffic study the city recommends before we plat the property. So I think we're on the same page on that at this point. So, any questions or anything?
Thanks for your time, President. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie?
I would like to mention that, as Trey was saying, I did receive an email with an updated narrative. There are a couple of, since we don't have it up here, the couple of outstanding items where a TIA would be required before the preliminary platting for the entire acreage, not just the acreage that they would be developing first. So the TIA would be required for the entire acreage, and also the second one was a 10-foot buffer would be required along the minor arterial, along the new Copeland, whenever that gets developed. So those were the two outstanding items that we were waiting on, and I believe they did, they're working on it, and then they did send it to us. So that could be, since this is all a PD, not everything is a PD, but some of them are PD, but you could make a motion with those two changes added, and it would be a part of approval.
All right. Any questions for Thorhani? Mr. Brewer's shared with us. Are there others here who would like to speak on this item? The recommendation is to table, but we're posting it, so if anyone would like to speak, please come to the microphone.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Mary Beth Trakian, and I live in the back of Cambridge Bend on Furman Court. I am happy to hear about some of the changes that they're recommending from removing the multi-family residential stuff further north. I'm also against any cut-throughs coming through the neighborhood. If you've not been in my neighborhood, you need to come through. We're very family-oriented. Kids and strollers. We have sidewalks on both sides of the roads. We have the community pool. A lot of young families coming through there. It does not need to be a cut-through road under any circumstances. And the second thing I'm concerned about is what you mentioned earlier is the washout. If we're in a heavy rain, come to my house. I want you to hear the water as it goes down that creek that runs in the back. I just don't see any way they're going to be able to fix it where you're going to put anything substantial back there. And listening to them talk about the building setbacks, 10 feet or 10 whatever it is, it's not going to be enough. We need those trees there, and I want to remind you guys, City receives 7th Tree City USA Growth Award on Arbor Day. There's a lot of beautiful trees back there that's going to help keep the ground where it is because it's already slopey. It's already a mess when it rains. It goes straight down the back of my yard. All the yards back there are built to go down to where that dry creek runs through. So I just don't see it's even feasible for that to happen at any point in time. And those trees, there's a lot of them back there. They need to stay as a buffer so our family neighborhood can stay pretty peaceful and quiet.
Thank you for your presence. Any questions? Be sure and share your concerns with others.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there others who'd like to speak? Mr. Wilder?
My name's Harold Wilder. I am a developer. I did the Wilder Way and also the Wilder Trail. That property is sitting there on the west side of the proposed R1A there. My problem is not against the zoning. It's I'm concerned about the drainage because there's approximately maybe 100 plus or minus acres to the east of me that all the watershed comes on top of me. And right now the vegetation and the coefficient is probably within range because of the vegetation. But when you go in and develop it with streets and houses, I don't know what size lots because they don't have their property platted at this time. But say, for instance, they had 100 houses. That would be maybe 100 acres might be 300 houses. We don't know what size. That hadn't been explained to me at this time. But what I really want, and I was never contacted prior to this. I had to contact them. And of course, I'm one of the bigger landowners in the area. So anyway, I did speak to Mr. Brewer, and he said something about a silt fence, but that won't control that kind of water. We all know that. It's going to require some kind of berm or a retention pond. I don't even think would hold that. But anyway, I understand they had a meeting this morning. They did not share that with me about the drainage. But anyway, I'd like to work with them and get a berm built there along my east property line and with a buffer. That definitely needs a buffer there because that's the only thing that would control that water, because there's not been any engineering on it at this time. And I would like for them to go ahead and do the coefficient on it, what it is now, and what it would be with the houses that's on it. They're planning large lots, small lots. I don't know what size because they didn't come out with that. Back in 2008, we had to address a subject just like this with drainage. And there was, for the zoning, there was a required coefficient for the existing and what it would be after the improvements. And drainage at that time was added. They had an ordinance that David may have been here at that time, but anyway, it was included in their zoning that they required some type of zoning. And I've given Mr. Jerome a copy from that particular area. And there was an ordinance done that was that required them to maintain the drainage, even though the subdivision ordinance does not have it in it. So anyway, I would like to work with them and get the drainage problem resolved before they ever start construction, because during construction, do you have my plat of my land there? I have a small lake, and that lake would catch probably 75% of the water that's coming off of that particular area. So they mentioned something about a silt fence. Silt fence will not control this. It's going to require a berm. But anyway, you might want to look up back to what was approved back in 2008. It was done through the city. It was an ordinance that was approved for drainage, and it went with the zoning of the property. So I'd like I've given her all the information on that particular time. So anyway, I'd like to work with them if they want to do that, but otherwise, I need something done about the drainage before they start this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilder. Are there others? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Judith Phillips, and I live at 1627 Cumberland Road. My house faces, I think this is tract 1A, close to Biloxi. So I am not sure exactly what the plan is for that area, but just the fact that it listed multi or mixed use involving commercial, office, and unit properties was very unappealing to me. We have 2 little kids, and we moved into this area because of the fact that it's a nice, quiet residential area. So right now we're facing a nice, we're in a residential area. Obviously right now we have a nice view of the land, but the idea that they would potentially turn that area into offices, commercial buildings, and unit properties, that's just very, in my opinion, undesirable. I have concerns about how that affects my property valuation, my property taxes. I have concerns about the traffic and congestion if they do that. I have noise concerns, privacy concerns, and again, just, if we were to try to resell our property at a later time, just the desirability and valuation concerns of, who wants to live in a residential area next to offices and commercial buildings. I was not able to attend any of the meetings, I guess, that they had. I don't know if they went into more specifics. I think my husband was able to talk to someone from, is it Gennicove? And again, I don't know if he had all of the information, but he mentioned something about the idea or possibility of them wanting to add a gas station on the corner of Biloxi. I don't know if that's, part of the plan, but again, that's just very concerning to me because, again, we moved to the Cumberland area just based on the fact that it's a quiet, nice residential area that we had planned to be there long term with our family, and that just was very concerning and unappealing to me. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for sharing your concerns. Any questions? Thank you. Others who have questions or concerns about this project? Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Russell Craig. I live at 1302 Jeff Davis Drive, which is immediately across from what would be the entrance off of Jeff Davis. And we're on the corner of Jeff Davis and Jeb Stewart, which I understand would be where New Copeland would come through. So my concern is that the way our property is situated there, that there would have to be a lot of extra traffic going on. And, if it would be tough for us to even get in and out of our property. If there's more than 4 cars backed up, there'd have to be some kind of stoplight or sign there, I'm sure. But on either way, if there's 3 or 4 or 5 cars backed up, I don't know how we get out of our property. So my concern is that, and again, the value, I believe would suffer And we'd have a lot of road noise. We left Virginia 6 years ago to come down here, and we were on a place that had a bit more traffic, and it was, we've got a nice backyard that we enjoy, and we'd have a lot of it would just ruin that. It would just, I think, suffer the value of the home, and just, we're, like I said, we're right across the street from where it would be. So that really concerns us a lot.
Can we see exactly where your property is on the, let her.
It's only 2/3 of an acre.
Is that where your home is?
Yes.
And the concern is?
Well, we're on the corner, right. We're basically in the where the intersection would be from Jeff Davis and New Cumberland. We'd be right on that intersection there. And I understand. We got to the first meeting in the late summer, early fall. We didn't get any other notifications. My wife emailed twice and never got back. We got notification from the city though for this. But when we spoke then with somebody, that they said basically the plan was to have Jeff Stewart turn into a 4-lane, which would be New Copeland come in, which would be basically, from my calculation, would put it maybe 10, 15 feet from our house or garage. And where we come out on the side there on Jeff Stewart, it's only 100 feet or so before you get to Jeff Davis. So, that's, I don't know how that would work.
We appreciate your concerns, though, and hope others will do what they can. Ronnie? Are there others who would like to speak? If not, Ronnie, the staff recommendations table for 30 days.
We did initially recommend for 30 days, but since we had received some additional information from them regarding TIA, and the TIA will let us know about the traffic impact and if there are any additional access point or connection points needed. So they have included that as a part of their submittal proposal. In also, I believe, the 10 feet buffer yard along the New Copeland. So if we would be recommending approval if these two things were added to the proposal.
I have a concern about approving this item when the concerns that have been raised for whatever reason and for whatever validity are only been raised today. And you're telling me now that your recommendation is to approve?
Yes, because some of the concerns brought up was for drainage, and the drainage would be addressed during the engineering phase, during the development phase, and UDC requires that the downstream flow should not be increased, so the developer must comply with those regulations. So drainage is not usually addressed at this part, and Mr. Wilder was talking about the 2008 proposal. He did submit those documents to me, and it was along Broadway, near close to the diner. And back then, drainage requirements were added, but since then the UDC does not require it. It just requires at this time of development phase. So that drainage concern will be addressed, and the TIA will be able to address the traffic concerns as well.
So, just to summarize, I think from a staff perspective, we had a couple outstanding items that one's been addressed, but the other one hasn't. So I'm not sure. There may be some disagreement with the applicant on that. And so if that's in regards to having a 10-foot landscape buffer along New Copeland Road, just from a kind of just how that area is now and trying to maintain that that character. That would be recommended by staff. But as of right now, I'm not sure we have an agreement on that part. So the only way staff would recommend approval is to have that be part of the motion to approve it with that stipulation. But after hearing a little bit more about some of the feedback from some of the neighbors, that if there's any other ways to, if there's additional things that need to be worked out to kind of bring them into the fold. I mean, I'm not sure. I know the applicant didn't work with or did reach out to many of the neighbors, so I'm not sure where, what happened there. But it is 350 acres of land. It is a large development. So if there's additional, if the commission feels that there's maybe, take an additional month or so to sort that out, then you have that prerogative.
I would like a little more time to evaluate all this. I don't think I've seen enough of it to really make that decision yet.
Well, speaking for myself, I do think the purpose here is to address as much as we possibly can before we make a recommendation to the City Council. Philip, did you have a comment?
I was going to ask about the South Tyler mobility study. Are we certain where Copeland Road is going to go at this point? I mean, I know it's kind of drawn on the master street plan, but is there a reason to wait for that study to come in to see if that's going to be adjusted?
So we did have quite a bit of discussion about traffic and about the study and some of the assumptions. I think I see Cameron back there, our traffic engineer. I think kind of short story there is that that was one of the things that we were still working with the applicant on to make sure that the approval or the what gets approved today was has the stipulation that there is a TIA or traffic impact analysis submitted to staff or to the city prior to any development on the 340 acres, not just one piece here and one piece there. It's going to be an analysis of the entire network through this 340 acres. And so I think we have that at this point. We have that part of that the applicant is aware and has committed to performing that TIA at that point. That said, some of the preliminary thoughts on the study is that there will be quite a bit of traffic, generated from this, and so, but the other part of that is that certain parts of the area will not develop until there is the adequate infrastructure to support that, and that's the main purpose of requiring that TIA so early on, and so that areas don't start developing before adequate infrastructure is put in.
New Copeland to the north has not been dedicated yet, right?
No, New Copeland I guess let's just say from Jeff Davis to Grande has not been dedicated as right of way. There's no allocation for or there's no plan other than the master street plan. There's no further planning or design for that connection through those properties. So there's the Jeb Stewart piece that would be part of that New Copeland extension, and then also there's I think 2 or 3 more properties that need that are not have not dedicated or right away has not been acquired for that purpose yet.
I'm only one commissioner here, but it just we've been told this is a 20-year project, so acquiring as much information as we possibly can before making a recommendation to the City Council seems to me to be appropriate. but there are others, commissioners, who may have a different opinion.
I agree.
All right, is there, I guess we have two options here. One is to table this for 30 days, or the other is to approve it with the modification that's been suggested by city staff. And I'm open to whatever the commissioner wants to do. Mr. Brewer.
Hey, good discussion on the master street plan. Just want to kind of make the note that we're taking the city's master street plan that a whole other group put together and spent a lot of time kind of putting a path of where New Copeland should go to make the least impact to the city as a whole. And so our zoning plan complies with the master street plan that the city has put together. And to the extent it changes over the years, then we're certainly on board for changing our plan as the city changes the master street plan for the better of the city. But without the zoning approval today, we can't move forward with doing the traffic study, which is helpful in figuring out where those roads should go. And so just want you guys to keep that in mind, that you're not approving right now where streets are going to go. That would be determined by the TIA and working closely with Cameron and Thorani and Kyle. So we really need the zoning approved before we can go to that next step. And this is a unique project with a big impact that we want to kind of go to the next step on. So
I appreciate those comments. I don't think anybody would suggest that either approving now or disapproving or tabling necessarily indicates an approval or rejection of your project. It's just a concern about information. At least that's my opinion.
Sure. All right, thanks.
Mr. Wilder, keep it short.
Thank you.
Please.
Pardon?
Keep it short, please.
Shortly?
Short, please.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not in charge of the zoning part of it, but that track track 7, that's adjacent to me, I only see one inlet and one outlet on it, unless there's something been changed. It would have to be on Cumberland Road. I don't see any access to that property. So how could you zone? My opinion of this whole big tract, it's a really big tract to zone at one time. I think it should be done in pieces instead of all at one time, because as times change, and as they said, it's a 20-year project, but even on the north end, I can understand the people in Cambridge Bend having to travel through their whole neighborhood to get to their inlet or exit. So I think that should be recognized before any approval is. I think it needs 30 days and get it tabled and get some more information in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilder. Chair's open to a motion from the commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, as good a job as I think Genicove has done, and as much as we will support and want this project in the future, I think we do need a table for 30 days to give us a little more time to absorb this big of a project. So I move that we, for 30 days, Z24-001, delay it.
Is there a second?
I second the motion to table.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Is that, Matthew, call the roll?
Yes.
So I can,
Chairman David Hudson,
aye.
Carleen Dark Bays, Clint Childs,
Aye.
Philip Humber.
Aye.
Christina Davis.
Aye.
Michael Carmichael.
Aye.
John Landis.
Nay.
Matthew, tell me what the vote was. 5 to 1.
5 to 1.
To 1, thank you. All right. This is the reason we're here is to share information and to make the appropriate decision. And the motion to table for 30 days is approved. Next item on there, let me get. Next item on our agenda is Z24-010, Robert Barber Irrevocable Trust.
This is a zone change request from R1A, Single Family Residential District, to C1, Light Commercial District. This is a property that's located along Chandler Road and also Loop 323. So the northwest intersection of Loop 323 and Old Chandler Road. The applicant is requesting the zone change for commercial uses. Looking at the surrounding zoning, properties to the north and west is zone R1A, and it is a single-family neighborhood. It's developed with single-family homes. The properties to the south are a mixture of R1A and C1, and is a mixture of single-family homes and an undeveloped land on that C1 property. The properties to the east, that's across the loop, is C1, that's light commercial, and is an Encore substation. The future land use guide identifies this property as mixed-use center, and commercial use would be consistent with the future land use guide. The applicant has an existing home. They are planning to demolish that and have some sort of a commercial use. At this time, they do not have what kind of use would that be, but since all the surrounding neighborhood along the Loop 323 is commercial, they would want to maximize when they sell the property or when they want to develop the property. This will align with the character of the neighborhood along 323. Out of the 11 notices that was sent, none was received in favor or in opposition to the request, and staff recommends approval of the zone change from R1A to C1. And also I want to mention that this will not increase any traffic on the residential neighborhood to the west.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Tharani?
Ronnie, this makes a lot of sense facing the loop. I did notice there was a home, I guess that's in lot 3A. Well, this will require the buffer zones and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be demolished.
Well, once they build it back. So.
Are there any other questions for Tharani? Are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? If not, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Z24-010.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z24-006, Jose Luis Valdez Jr.
This is a zone change from C1, Light Commercial District, to a PMXD1, that is Planned Mixed Use District. This is a property that's located northeast intersection of Lindsay Lane and South Palace Avenue. Looking at the surrounding zoning, the properties to the north and east is zone C1, and they're undeveloped right now. The property to the west is R1B. Even though it's zoned R1B, it is a commercial retail building to the west. The properties to the south is R2, and they're developed with single-family homes. The applicant is proposing the zone change to allow for a mixed-use development, since they're requesting for a PMXD with a church and also some residential uses. This would amend the future land use guide from neighborhood commercial, because this is recommended for C1, that is neighborhood commercial, and this will change to a mixed use since they will have both in the same building. The applicant is currently utilizing the property for a church, and they have an unused space that they would like to change it into a duplex. It also appears that this C1, since you can see the property to the west is also a similar type of building, they are used for commercial uses. So we are also recommending that this could be used for light commercial uses at some point. And this will also accomplish Tyler First's goal of adding new residences to the north end, since there will be 2 additional homes in the existing building already. That's the site narrative. And it says that it will be applicable for single-family residential attached and duplexes, and also some church that's currently there. It could be some church activity, recreational center, and also all the uses with C1, but not gas station at that corner. So all the uses other than the gas station, and then also it could be used as an office. That building is suitable for all of these uses. That's the site narrative. Out of the 24 notices that was sent, none was received in favor or in opposition to the request, and staff recommends approval of the zone change from C1 to PMXD1 with site narrative.
Thank you, Thrani. Any questions for Thrani? If not, are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against?
I have a question for
I'm sorry,
Thrani. No,
go
it's
ahead.
Out of curiosity, so the Development Services Office, this will all flow through them, so fire separation and all the building standards will have to be met before occupancy and all that?
Yes, that is correct.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for the question. Are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item? If not, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve item Z24-006.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z24-007. Rex Kirby.
This is a zone change from C1 Light Commercial District to DBAG, Downtown Business Arts and Culture District. This is a property that's located southeast intersection of Harris Avenue and West Gentry Parkway. It's right at the end of our downtown rezoning area. The applicant is requesting the zone change to allow for either residential or commercial uses. At this time, I don't think there's a building on that property. It is currently vacant. They don't have what kind of use they want to go at this time, but they would like to have it into DBAG so they could have the option of either residential or commercial. Future land use guide identifies this as single family and single family attached, but this would change to a mixed use center if it's going to be 2 uses in that property. That's the aerial view. This will also achieve Tyler First comprehensive goals for the north end if it's residential, and also, the downtown development with everything that's going on, it'll also be consistent with that. Out of the 16 notices that was sent, none was received in favor or in opposition to the request, and staff recommends approval of this zone change from C1 to DBAG.
Thanks, Thrani. Any questions for Thrani? Are the persons here who'd like to speak on this item for?
David, I have a question.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let me just apologize to Mr. He is so modest and humble in his appearance that I overlook him sometimes.
I was curious about the curb cut, Thrani. Is that going to be going right onto Gentry, or is it from the side street? I guess it's maybe on the right side going onto Gentry.
That is a good question. It looks like there is a curb cut on the east of kind of Gentry, but at the time of plating, they would probably let us know.
I mean, it'll have to comply with TxDOT, access management.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you for your question. I was troubled by that too, and didn't have to ask. So, are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve Z24-007.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z24-008, Doug Mulder.
This is a zone change from C2, General Commercial District, to RMF, Multifamily Residential District. This is a property that's located along the southeast loop 323. The applicant is requesting the zone change for an 84-unit senior living apartment complex. Let's look at the surrounding zoning. The properties to the south is zone C2 and R1A and are developed with commercial uses and also some undeveloped land. The properties to the north is C2 and is also undeveloped. And the properties to the west is a neighborhood, is zoned R1A and is developed with single-family homes. And across the street along the Loop 323 is the M1, that's Utility Service Center. The future land use guide identifies this as a neighborhood commercial, and this would amend from commercial to multifamily. The applicant plans to construct an 84 multifamily units on the property with 17.20 units per acre, even though RMF allows for 24 units per acre maximum. This would be a 4-story structure. And also there is a creek that if you see that's running through the west of the property, that's a FEMA floodplain, so the development will be off of the FEMA floodplain, and also that acts as a buffer yard, and there will be also a requirement of the buffer yard in case if that, I believe, whatever they choose to provide. If that's not adequate, if the creek is not adequate, they'll have to provide extra buffer yard between the residential and the RMF. Also, I would like to mention that City Council approved the tax credits for housing resolution for support for this project. That's why they're coming for a rezoning so that they can submit for the housing project with the housing authority. Out of the 17 notices that was sent, 1 was received in favor and none in opposition to the request, and staff recommends approval of the zone change.
Thank you, Thrani. Any questions for Thrani?
Will Divine Street not be taken through?
No, there's a creek.
Yeah, Divine previously was planned to go through there. It was closed by council, or that right of way was closed years ago. I'm not sure what year, but
so the right of way is not there
right.
anymore. Okay.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Z24-008.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. I neglected to see if there's somebody here who wanted to speak. If not, a motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z24-009. Zachariah Goff.
This is a zone change from C1 light commercial district to R1D single family detached and attached residential district. This is a property that's located east of the southeast intersection of Moore Avenue and Field Street. The applicant is requesting to zone change so that they can combine the properties into one. There is an existing structure. It is non-conforming. It was allowed in the pyramid zoning back when pyramid zoning was allowed, and they are trying to make it to conforming so that they can combine the property and have that residence up there. That's the aerial view of the property. So this zone change will bring them into compliance. Out of the 27 notices that was sent, none was received in favor or in opposition to the request, and staff recommends approval of this zone change from C1 to R1D.
Any questions for Thrani? If not, are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve item Z24-009.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item's approved. Next is PD 24-005. Raise Shy. Thrani.
This is a zone change request from C1 light commercial district to PMXD1. This is also a planned mixed-use district. This is a property that's located along south of the intersection of Northwest Loop 323 and Garden Valley Road. It's across the John Tyler High School. And the applicant is requesting the zone change for mixed-use development with residential and commercial uses. Before I go into what they're requesting right now, I would like to mention that even though they're requesting for residential and commercial uses with PMXD1, the applicant at this time had let us know that they're not sure if they would want to move with the PMXD1, and they're thinking about modifying the project to maybe just have only commercial. They're not sure at this point, so they have asked us to let you know to table the request for 30 days so they can modify the request and come back to the next PC. For this PMXD1, we did not receive any notices for or against, but at this time, the staff would recommend tabling this item for 30 days to allow applicant to modify the proposal.
And is that going to be your recommendation?
Yes.
Any questions for city staff? If not, are the persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move table PD 24-005 for 30 days.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to table this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is C 24-001, Naturon Properties. And Ronnie?
This is a right-of-way closure request. This is located along Haverhill Drive. We had a zone change request from R1D to RMF in the last meeting, and the RMF, as a part of that, they're coming back and requesting for a closure of these two so they can plat it into one and then have some sort of a multifamily development in there. So that's the request for it. There is a stub out to the south to connect to Danley Avenue, and we have let the applicant know whenever they're platting the RMF, the one lot or how many ever lots, that we recommend connecting the street, Danley, through the property as well. Out of the 19 notices, one was received in favor or none in opposition to the request, and staff recommends the closure of
Thanks. Any questions for Thrani? If not, are the persons here who'd like to speak on this item? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve C 24-001.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. The commission will stand in recess pending our workshop.